this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
I am probably the president's #1 fan, and that's not going to change. And the hate or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more. And it's going to motivate all of us to support him more. We're not going to let them get away with bullying him and, the smear campaigns. It's not going to work, okay? He has a lot of force behind him, and God is protecting him.
You're listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson.
Good Thursday morning. It's so nice to have you with us on the 47 Morning Update, and we've got two big stories for you. First up, the FBI searched the Fulton County Election Office in Georgia. So what are they looking for, and what did they find? We'll have all that information for you in just a moment. Also, shocking new video shows Alex Preddy in a clash with ICE agents days before his fatal shooting in Minneapolis. Not only was he busted in the video spitting, shouting, and kicking out the taillight of ICE agents' vehicles, but the left has now gone completely silent on what they were claiming he actually was instead of a radical activist protester. It's the 47 Morning Update, and it starts right now.
Story number one.
It is a question that every American should ask. Are our elections actually honest? Are they fair? Or are there vulnerabilities? We know from new reporting, and this is a shocking headline, 50 plus Mexican consulates were working to upend the U.S. elections. You may not even heard about this story, but in a brand new blockbuster book, The Invisible Coup, How American Elites and Foreign Powers Use Immigration as a Weapon, it is now exposing how the Mexican government has built a sophisticated political influence network inside the United States of America. And what are they trying to do? One thing. They're trying to reshape our American elections, as well as our culture and then the policies. This is truly shocking to see that there are 50 plus consulates from Mexico that are literally trying to change the outcome of our elections, which brings us to the even bigger story of what happened in 2020. We now are being told that FBI agents executed a court-authorized search warrant at the Fulton County Election Hub and Operations Center near Atlanta, Georgia. The operation involved seizing records and materials related to the 2020 presidential election, including ballots and other election documents. Federal action on the 2020 election records is a major point of the investigation, and the fact that the Department of Justice and the FBI are actively collecting materials tied to the election can obviously be spun by many as to say Donald Trump may have been right all along. They're finally reviewing the concerns that were previously dismissed by the last regime. Now, court-authorized law enforcement activity is a big deal. The FBI did not act unilaterally. They secured a judge-signed warrant, which means a federal magistrate found probable cause to authorize the search. So when the media says this is Trump going on a witch hunt, be clear, a judge had to authorize this. What it also means is this is now a legitimate legal case with legitimate legal action rather than a political witch hunt or a political stunt, which is, of course, how many in the media and the left will try to spin this. President Trump had publicly demanded accountability. In fact, just last week, Donald Trump predicted prosecutions tied to the 2020 election. And now federal agents are executing a warrant tied to that election debate, which supporters might see as a major call to action that is long overdue. I want you to take a listen to how Brett Baer at Fox News Channel explained the Fulton County office being raided by the FBI.
Tonight, FBI agents are going through materials found today during a search of the Fulton County, Georgia election office. That search is said to be related to the 2020 election. Correspondent David Spunt has details tonight. Good evening, David.
Brett, good evening. FBI agents are still on site at the records warehouse for the Fulton County, Georgia Board of Elections. The matter is sealed before a court, meaning details are limited, but we can report this is related to the 2020 presidential election. Sources tell Fox News that agents retrieved documents, phones, and computers after a judge signed a warrant. President Trump has long made Georgia, and specifically Fulton County, a target of his complaints relating to the 2020 election. Shortly after that election, Trump spoke to Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, and said he needed 11,780 votes to win the state. At the time, Raffensperger said he felt pressure from Trump and denied any widespread election fraud. He continues to deny it to this day. Now, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis brought state criminal charges against then former President Trump and others in 2023 for conspiracy to overturn the election. But her prosecution, Brett, was eventually derailed completely after it was revealed she had an intimate relationship with the top prosecutor on her team, and it could have tainted the case. Late last year, a judge dismissed the case in its entirety. Now, Brett, last month, the Justice Department sued Fulton County, Georgia, seeking access to 2020 voting records after state officials allegedly failed to respond to a subpoena. Fox News has learned the head of the FBI's Atlanta field office was recently forced out in recent days, but it's unclear, Brett, if this is all related.
One point that should also be made. In 2020, many believe it wasn't even an election in Georgia. It was a crime scene. Biden won Georgia, they said, by 11,779 votes. But Fulton County was forced to admit certifying about 315,000 early votes without poll workers' signatures that they said were supposed to be required. 40,000 citizen affidavits of election fraud were also filed in Georgia. The FBI are now loading those 2020 election ballots into trucks right now at the Fulton County Election Office. You have to ask yourself this question: who is worried, if anyone at all? President Trump also talking about Georgia. And here's what he had to say about a month ago on the issue.
Did you have one? Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to ask you about the Georgia Senate race. I know it's very early, but there's several Republicans in that field that are vying for your endorsement.
A lot of good people in that field.
Yes.
I know all of them, actually. I haven't made a decision on that, but you have some very good people in the Georgia Senate race.
Well, Governor Cruz has endorsed...
No, I know. The governor has, and he's spoken to me about it a lot. He likes that candidate a lot. And I understand that. I haven't made a decision yet. But I'm following that race very carefully. I think it's very important for Georgia to get a real senator, because the senator they have now is a horrible senator. He allows all the crime, all the borders. You have open borders. I mean, his whole philosophy is a disaster. That's not representative of the people of Georgia. I know the people of Georgia. I won Georgia 3 times, but they say twice.
President Trump putting it perfectly. I won Georgia 3 times, but they say twice. Now, with the FBI involved, we may actually get an answer to that big question. Did the president win Georgia in 2020? And if he did, what's the accountability for those that changed the outcome of the election?
Next, story number 2.
Alex Preddy is the guy who was shot and killed by ICE agents in Minnesota. He is the man the left wants you to believe was an innocent bystander that did nothing wrong, and he was somehow murdered by ICE agents. Well, there's new video that has come out showing the complete opposite of that narrative. What we now know is that in new footage, Alex Preddy was armed, spitting at federal immigration officers and smashing the taillights of their black SUV during a psychotic clash more than a week before he was fatally shot by Border Patrol agents in Minneapolis. The video, which the BBC said is verified and has now gone viral, captured the ICU nurse yelling at agents while they were driving away during a heated January the 13th protest before booting the back of the car, prompting them to jump out and tackle him to the ground after knocking out their taillight. The man, who was wearing similar clothes in the video to what Preddy had on when he was fatally shot last Saturday, was taken to the ground by at least 5 agents who deployed tear gas into the crowd during the wild confrontation. Now, the hordes of agents continued to hold him down until he retreated and joined the crowd in shouting at the agents with a gun visibly tucked into the back of his pants. Homeland Security Investigations is reviewing the newest footage of the 37-year-old's apparent prior brush with federal agents just day before the fatal shooting took place. A spokesman for Preddy's devastated family and the family's attorneys have verified that the man in the video is Preddy. That coming from the Minnesota Star-Tribune. A week before Alex was gunned down the street, despite posing no threat to anyone, he was violently assaulted by a group of ICE agents, is what the family attorney said in a statement to the Post. Obviously, it doesn't match what you can literally see with your own eyes in the video. Then this. Nothing that happened a full week before could possibly have justified Alex's killing at the hand of ICE on January the 24th. Now, Preddy was apparently known to federal authorities and had suffered a broken rib during that confrontation with agents 11 days before his death, is what CNN reported. Federal officers pulled the loaded 6-hour pistol from his waistband before the shooting took place. DHS investigators believe an errant round from Preddy's own pistol after it was taken away from him may have prompted Border Patrol agents to then open fire. Now, the deadly caught-on-camera incident has erupted when he wedged himself between a female protester and ICE officers and was tackled and disarmed by Border Patrol before 2 agents shot him dead in that fight. The 2 federal immigration officers who fired their weapons at Preddy have been placed on administrative leave. Now, that is standard protocol for agents involved in a shooting. The Department of Homeland Security confirming that on Wednesday. Now, neither of those agents have been identified publicly yet. What we do know is Preddy's death was a second shooting involving federal immigration officers in Minnesota in less than 3 weeks during the Trump administration's massive rollout of illegal migrants in the North Star State. And on January the 7th, ICE agent Jonathan Ross shot and killed a 37-year-old mother of 3. We know her as Renee Good after federal authorities showed on video that she used her 2-ton car to ram an officer, him shooting to save his own life. Now, both shootings have sparked waves of protests across the state, prompting local and national elected officials to call for President Trump to pull ICE out of Minneapolis and Minnesota to diffuse the chaos. Clearly, that is not going to happen. What has happened is Trump has sent the border czar, Tom Homan, to Minnesota, putting Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem on the sidelines and leaving her future in the administration uncertain, at least from a public standpoint. We also know the president did put out a statement saying that he stood by Kristi Noem. So you have to decide who you want to believe. U.S. Border Patrol Chief, who was leading the massive immigration operation in Minneapolis, and other agents have been pulled out of Minneapolis after the latest violence erupted. So here we are with the President of the United States of America, yet again showing that the media lied to all of us about Alex Preddy. They tried to turn him into some innocent individual when the reality is he was assaulting law enforcement on a regular basis.
Thank you for listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson. Please make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. And for more in-depth news, also subscribe to the Ben Ferguson Podcast, and we will see you back here tomorrow.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.